Welcome back to the channel, guys. I am the Drunken Goth, and in today's video we are going to be talking about Ferrari Classiche certification and what goes into the restorations when you are aiming for Classiche certification. So what is Classiche certification? Classiche certification is basically when a car has been restored, an agent of Ferrari comes out to sign off on the restoration, and it basically indicates the level of detail that's been gone to in that restoration. It indicates that the car is now as close to original, as close to the day it left the factory as is possible. It comes with a certificate and a folder, Classiche folder, red folder, and it is something that's quite desirable as it does indicate the level of restoration that car has gone through. So basically in this video we're going to go through what the requirements are to be signed off for Ferrari Classiche. So the first thing is checking that the car is matching numbers. Now each car has a numbered engine, numbered gearbox, numbered diff, etc. And in order to go through the Classiche, basically these have to be the same as when they left the factory, or a authorized documented replacement from the factory. Now during my restorations here in the UK, the authorized agent is Mr. Tony Willis, and he is the owner of the Maranello archives, and he has virtually all of the information you need to check that the chassis number does indeed match up with the engine number and gearbox number, etc. Next is more of guidance rather than a requirement, and that is the body colour. Now there is a bit of a misconception that in order for a Ferrari to go through Classiche it has to be repainted in the original colour that it left the factory in. This isn't true. I've had cars go through Classiche that are completely different in the colour that they left the factory with. So basically the requirements are that if you're going to repaint it in a different colour, so long as it's a colour that was available at the time through Ferrari, that is completely acceptable to go through Classiche. Next we have the finish of the parts. Now when it comes to a lot of the different finishes, some of them aren't available anymore, but the idea is you have to try and get as close as you possibly can with the things that are available to you. So when it comes to things like the suspension mounts, bumper mounts, exhausts, yokes for the suspension arms, stuff like that, you have to get them as close to what they would have left the factory looking like, and it's basically the closest finish you can get. So with yokes and stuff like that, the closest you can get now is the yellow/gold zinc. When it comes to the suspension arms, they would have originally been on a lot of models the cadmium plated, silver cad plated, but nowadays with that being illegal due to toxicity, you have to go for the blue/silver zinc, with the link bars being again yellow/gold zinc. And with some of the manifolds, they were originally white Sperex painted, so they have to be again as close as you can get them with the materials available, and that goes on to a lot of the different parts. So I mean, to be honest, I think it's worth doing regardless, because they look stunning once they're back in their original, as close to original condition as you can get, and it really does make the car exceptional. So when it comes to chrome plating and stuff like that, again everything has to be as close as possible, with the shock absorbers, as you can see here, painted in the original Coney orange, with the silver zinc top mounts and collets, original rubbers if you can still get them, and of course adding the classic Coney stickers is always a great way to try and give that proper original as it left the factory feel. Even down to the coatings on the inside, so this red paint that we put on the inside, red anti-porostic paint, which is exactly how it would have been when it was new. And even down to, as you can see here, this bead of white sealant. This is the original Rotor Seal, which you can still get hold of, which was the original sealant which was used when it was new. But it's also worth noting that this doesn't prevent you from using upgraded, modified parts, as these coils are here, and in order to make these coils completely acceptable for Classiche, we basically paint them in the original colour that they should have been, and once they're painted, add the original Magneti Marelli stickers, and that way we can still use these upgraded parts and make the car slightly better. Next we have the parts that not only can you still get hold of, but they are pretty much a dead certain you have to have them as new original if you're going to fit them. And of course, with the oil filters, the Fram oil filters, you can still get the orange Fram oil filters, and of course they were always originally orange on the cars when they left the factory, so definitely getting these is a must. And when it comes to other things, we have hose clips. The hose clips, you can still get hold of the original ones. You can still get hold of the fabric overbraided pipe, which has to be used, and then you have this yellow braided pipe, which you can still get from Ferrari. And again, this is a very unique part which stands out, so it has to be exactly as we have it pictured. And of course, on top of that, then we have the blue Cavis Benz breather hose, which is a bit of a nightmare to get hold of, but again, if you're going to do a proper Classiche restoration, it's got to be right, so you have to try and source it. And then of course you've got things like the radiator cap, which were always printed with the markings as you can see here. So again, it's a bit difficult to get around stuff like that. You have to try and get the original, clean up what you've got as best you can. Obviously there's always going to be things that you can't get, like the original old school batteries and some of the original hoses. So for that we have the replica stickers that are made for the Barraclen batteries, which were originally on the 1960s cars, and all the rubber hoses were originally Pirelli Calori. So again, we can get the stickers from them and make them as close as possible. Next we have something that I think is fantastic attention to detail, even if it is not for Classiche, and that is the badges, plates and stickers. So for the 60s cars, they were always Answer exhausts. They had the Answer sticker on the outside of the tailpipes with a red strip where the black paint ended and orange paint on the inside. Then for the Baranis, they always had the Barani sticker just inside the spokes on the centre panel. And of course, when it comes to the engine, the FISPA plate for the airboxes, as well as the firing order plate on some of the airboxes or on the engine block. On the outside of the body, we usually have the Pininfarina badges in various different styles. And of course, in the engine bay, we have the different identification panels for chassis or different oils and stuff like that. One of the things I always used to make sure I used to do on my restorations, though, I thought it was always a really nice touch to keep the original Ferrari nose badge that the car arrived with. So even if it was patinaed, even if it was damaged, even if it looked a bit ropey, I thought that was a really nice original touch to leave the car with. So you have this fantastically restored car, but you can just see the signs of age just on that Ferrari emblem on the front. So as for the end result, I really do think it goes without saying how stunning these cars look once they have been fully restored. I really do love the 1960s era of Ferraris, and I've done quite a few of them, 1970s as well, and they really do look stunning when they're restored to this level. And so we'll end the video just with, as you can see above, some of the cars that I personally have restored and put through their Classiche certification. Well, that is it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like on it, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye bye.